Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I wish to take a look at education. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. Albert Einstein. When looking at the school system in America, from pre-K to university, there are massive issues that loom over what will dominate the youth, which are our future. The first is in the form of Common Core, which has standardized education for those who are before university level. The second is the overemphasis on going to university, where often many go without a clear plan. Due to this, I feel as if no one truly learns anything coming out of school, and in relation to the Albert Einstein quote at the start, they are not truly educated. Both of them need to be resolved for a healthier society. The Common Core problem. It is something that is a plague on the education system of today. The first issue is that it has adopted a uniform set of standards, which is inherently bad for students. Some students will excel in fields that others will falter in. Education needs to have an emphasis on the strengths of the students instead of what is viewed for the good of everyone. Not every single person will need knowledge in fields such as algebra or even in grammar. Some people grow up wanting to be a construction worker, perhaps a fighter, or even an artist. These fields do not need a uniform teaching method, but instead something specialized to what the individual wants. The other problem with Common Core is the emphasis on teaching for test result purposes over content. While teachers may be in favor for Common Core, only roughly 27% of teachers like how tests measure a student's performance. The results decide how successful a student is, which I express how this is wrong in my first point. Everyone has different strengths. This is not just limited to what people prefer to learn, but also how they express their knowledge. Tests are not for everyone. Students should be taught content and be allowed to express their knowledge through a variety of ways. However, Common Core stifles that. One final point for Common Core is that it standardizes education for the youth. This can be a paranoia point, but given the government has spied on its citizens using the NSA, sometimes paranoia is necessary. The government having too much control on what is being taught to the impressionable youth will lead them to dictating what they know. You can take it to whatever logical conclusion that means to you, but for me, just the thought of it being possible is terrifying. He who opens a school door closes a prison. Victor Hugo. For me, this quote rings true, but there is more to unpack. School is important. It brings those who are less fortunate the chance to gain knowledge and to use it. However, it is also important to highlight that environment is just as crucial. To go to school means nothing if you're not given the opportunity to learn. Many can go to school that is in a disruptive environment due to any number of circumstances, which means it will not be an optimal environment to gain knowledge. So, what I propose is simple. Abolish Common Core and allow for school choice. Right now, students are locked into whatever school district they are in. This is an issue particularly for those in low-income neighborhoods because often they go to schools in areas that tend to be managed poorly and receive poor funding. Ignoring what created those faults, the issues is the faults are there. Students are hampered not by their own abilities, but by the environment that they are raised in. A student can be a genius, but never get the proper education to express it. Allow schools to compete between each other for students. What I'm about to propose is in no way a working proposal. It is purely theoretical, but is meant to express the point. It is hyperbolic in nature, just so that people do not misconstrue my point. Every single student is worth, let's say, $1 million of funding for the school that the student goes to. So now schools have to fight to get kids. This means that schools have to market themselves in a way to get as many students as possible, such as having the best teachers. Perhaps it means providing transportation for students that are 30 minutes to an hour away. It can come in the form of free lunches instead of paid lunches, but a small expense in food means you do get more students, which of course means you get more funding. The point behind it is this. Now children are no longer locked to a school closest, but instead they're free to go to the best schools. Of course, this is merely theoretical, and I am sure there are issues here. I am not a policymaker nor in the position to push legislation, so I'll leave this point closed here. It's just merely a thought experiment for you to get a grasp of what I mean. Now, this leads me to the next big problem, the bloated university issue. Now, I say bloated for two reasons. The first is that universities are put way too high on a pedestal. From the SAT to the ACT in high school, people are prepared to do college and to think about their future. Nearing the end of high school, you rush for scholarships in which you can apply for to make it more affordable. All this often comes at the expense of the student who spent their time in school following a strict regimen, not knowing what to do. This was me, and the least along with others that I know. Once thrusted into university, there are so many students that enter university undecided. According to an article called The Developmental Disconnect in Choosing a Major, which is linked below, 20 to 50% of students enter college as undecided, with at least 75% changing their major at least once before graduation. These statistics come from the mid-90s. In contrast, though, for a more modern example, Central University says 75% of American colleges and their students start college undecided or change their major. This is incredibly high and shows people are thrown into the wilderness of higher academia without any clue of what to do, and other universities ring true with these numbers as well. This is a huge issue given the second reason, the high cost of college. Assuming that you are just going to be going in-state, the average cost of college is roughly $25,000. That is a ridiculous amount of debt for many students that have no real plan. This is ignoring out-of-state, which is around $40,000, and also ignoring med school or law school, which gets astronomical. However, those who tend to enter the latter know what they want to do in their life, so that is a poor point. These issues all merge to show the disgusting beast of education. Students are not given at a young age the ability to prosper, to choose what path they excel at or have a deep passion in and progress. Instead, many students stumble their way through education or are forced down narrow pathways. Allowing for students to choose what they wish to do with their life and to pursue it not only allows for them to excel, but also gives them tools for the future. Coming out of grade 12 will mean that they have numerous years to specialize in a field if they're allowed to pick the schools of their own choice with Common Core gone. That holds more weight to employers than the current high school student does, and to be frank, more than most college students, because they've had years upon years to tune their craft. I do understand that this is a massive issue. There are many more points that can be touched upon, such as changing the pricing model of university, changing the government subsidies for loans. Is school choice actually feasible? Would children even know what they want to do with their lives? There are also other valid points, such as trade schools, which are not put on the same pedestal as college as they should be, for they teach you the necessary skills and give you experience. In any case though, thank you for listening. I hope this has intrigued you enough to act as a launching board to delve further into this topic. I wish you all to have a good day, and God bless America.